Good morning guys and welcome back. So today we're going to be going over a few things you should be looking out for if you're in the market to buy a 97 to 2006 Jeep TJ Wrangler. Now just before we get started, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. We'll be uploading some awesome stuff in 2020. I can't wait. I really would love if you guys would be a part of it as well. And don't forget to smash that like button as well. It's going to help out the channel in a massive way. It's going to allow us to grow and make better content for you guys. So the Jeep TJ is getting quite old now. And if you're looking to buy one, there's a few things you should be looking out for. Majority of the time they've been through multiple owners, not just one. You're not buying a brand new car. So being a multiple owner car, it's really hard to find out the full history of the vehicle. So it's a good idea to actually build a relationship with the seller to find out later on if they're telling the truth. Ask them plenty of questions, to get a list made up of questions you want to ask, because when you're there you get too excited about looking at the car. You're running around, you're like, oh my god, that's beautiful, I love it, let's buy it now, how much cash do you want? Nah, I'll give you $2 grand more than what your asking price is now. I get like that. Every time I go view a car I'm like, oh, I'm not going to tell my wife I'm just going to pick it up now. But just write a list of things you want to ask, and it's also a good idea to take a friend that knows more about four-wheel drives or Jeeps with you if you're not mechanically minded. Or if you don't have a friend, ask someone. If you're around the Sunshine Coast here, I'll go with you to look at Jeeps. I love looking at Jeeps. So if you guys are around the Sunshine Coast, hit me up. I'll go with you to go look at a Jeep if you want. But if you don't know anyone, and if you're unsure about anything to do with a Jeep, especially a four-wheel drive vehicle, and you don't want to waste your hard-earned money on buying the wrong thing, you can always take it to a mechanic and they can do a inspection for you, and they can also do a compression test, make sure you're buying the best vehicle possible. And I think it's about $100 for that, so it's a good peace of mind rather than spending 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand on something that might be a lemon and just a bad investment. But today I want to show you a few things that will help you guys drive down the price to get you guys a better bargain and get more money in your back pocket. So the first thing we're going to be looking at, the majority of Jeeps come out with a soft top, or if you can find with a hard top and soft top. Those hard tops are getting really hard to find now. But main things to look for on a soft top is wear and tear across these seams here. They wear out really fast. Also have good inspection on the Velcro. If the seller has said it hasn't had any off-road use, it's really hard to get dirt out of these Velcro bits, and there'll be dirt inside these zippers as well, and that's a pain in the ass because it's really hard to clean and it can cause problems later on. Finding a replacement soft top isn't hard, and they're roughly cheap online. You can buy a Rampage one, a Bayless one for about $420. Now if the owner has said that hasn't had much off-road use, it's a good idea to check out the windows of the soft top, because with paint you can polish it, you can do cosmetic things to tidy it up and get rid of scratches, but you can't get rid of scratches on a soft top window. So it's a good idea to have a look at the soft top window and make sure they're not scratched up, and if the owner has said that hasn't had any off-road use but the windows clearly say a different thing, what else is he lying about? Because unfortunately people are out there to make money. I'm there to help you guys maybe save some money in the long run, but people are out there to make money and after a quick sale or on sell it because they don't want to deal with the problems at hand. So having a look at the motor, so my one's got a 4 litre straight 6, and that's all we get in New Zealand and Australia. These motors are very reliable and there's not much you can actually go wrong with them. So the majority of the time the owner probably would have just taken it for a drive. So just let it cool down, do a couple other things, inspect the body, wait a couple minutes, pop the radiator cap, just check there's actually coolant in there, not just water. Make sure he's actually using coolant and getting the servicing properly done. Have a look around for general leaks, have a look for rear main seal leaks, just common faults with these motors. Have a look for oil, make sure the oil nice and clear. Now what you can do, there's not much you can do to check the internals of the motor without doing a compression test or taking it to a mechanic. But what you can do is actually pop the oil cap, turn the motor, just leave it sitting there and turn it on. If it blows straight away, or if it just sits there kind of like bouncing around a little bit, it means that it's got a little bit of piston blow by, I think that's what it's called, and you've got some problems internally, so it might be a bit of a miss for that one. But if that looks all good, just move on. Have a look around the air box and behind these boxes and stuff. These are notorious for getting water up in them and getting rust. Now these can all be replaced. That's not structural. These can be replaced. So if it's a good deal and it's got a little bit of rust on these, you can take them off, repaint them and stuff like that. But just take the air box apart, take the air filter out, and just inspect behind the actual air filter itself. Up in this part here, and just run your finger around the inside of this. If there's dust and dirt in here, in this part here, majority of the time it's going to go through there and into the motor. That means there's dust and dirt inside the motor. So just be mindful if the air filter is actually doing its job, and how clean and how often the owner is actually replacing that filter as well. Because most of the time that actually gets overlooked. And just a general walk around, check brake fluid, check rust behind stuff, check for simple oil leaks, just stuff like that. And Jeeps, and especially the TJs, are notorious for heat soak problems. So when you do take it for a drive, just leave it sitting there idling for a little bit. Make sure it idles nice, take it for a nice long drive, at least 15 or 20 minutes, half an hour if you want. And just when you get back, leave it idling for a little bit, like at a set of traffic lights, or when you get back to the guy's house, and just make sure it idles nice and strong. It doesn't drop and raise in RPM. So when you're underneath the Jeep, it's a good idea to take a friend with you that knows about cars, and then he can, or she can sit in the car, turn it on, and just turn the steering wheel back and forward. That way you can see any play in the steering linkages that might need to be replaced. Now these aren't overly expensive, so it might not be a big worry, but it is a good idea to talk him down in price if these parts are worn out. Stuff in the steering might only set you back a couple $100, but it's a good indicator that it might have had a hard life off-road. Now, majority of Jeeps will probably have a suspension lift as well, so do ask them if they've done it themselves. Might be a dodgy backyard job. Ask about branding, any receipts they might have from the people that have installed it. Now we're underneath the Jeep, just check for rust in components, up in the chassis rails and stuff like that. It's also a good idea to check for scratches on the bottom of the diff cover, the skid plate for the gearbox, or the control arms. And if they've got big gouges in them, it will show that the Jeep's actually had a hard life off-road. And if the owner has said it's had an easy life, it's mostly been daily driven, one lady owner, you know he's probably full of crap. So it's a good idea to just ask these questions, ask that why it's been all scratched up. And if you see new paint and everything else is dirty, ask if some parts have been replaced or why it's been painted. They call it detailers paint. Most people will try and paint over something with new glossy paint to make it look good, try and cover up some problems. So talking about rust and stuff like that, if you live in a country that it snows, there'll be salt on the ground, or if you live in Australia, majority of the time you would have done some beach driving, or the Jeep would have done some beach driving. So it's a good idea to get down on the ground and just pop a finger into the chassis itself. If there's a little bit of dirt, that's fine, but if there's sand or you can feel any sort of rust, because trying to deal with rust inside a chassis rail is a no-go. Well, it kind of depends how much rust you want to deal with. Mine had a little bit of surface rust when I first bought it, but I just wire brushed it down, cleaned it up, repainted it, and we're good to go. Also get under here and wiggle the drive shaft back and forward, see if there's any play in the uni joints. Uni joints aren't overly expensive, but it's just another talking point, and it can show the life of the vehicle as well. Also check for gearbox leaks. They can be really pain in the arse to fix. Check for rear main seal leaks, and any corrosion on exhaust might show that it's been in water. Now moving to the inside of the Jeep, really simple inside here. All you want to do is pull back the carpet, make sure there's no rust or water leaks. Pull back the floor mats, make sure there's no wet spots on the carpet. Now majority of people, when they take a four-wheel drive for a test drive, they don't actually put it in four-wheel drive itself. And I've made this mistake before. Take it for a drive, actually take it off-road, don't take it on anything harsh, But to take it onto like a piece of dirt or someone's grass area or something, and actually put in 4-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low, make sure it engages properly. And it's a good idea to actually have someone on the outside of the Jeep as well, listen for any clunks or anything like that that may indicate that the transfer case or the driveline or the axle is on its way out. So just get them to stand on the outside. If you do hear anything, make sure you ask the owner about them. They may know what's going on, or they may not. Also a good idea to give it a good drive. Don't nanner it. I see a lot of people taking things for test drives. Take it to say 3,000-4,000 RPM and give it a good walloping. Don't break someone else's car, but give it a good walloping. Every time I take a Jeep or a car for a test drive, I give it a good go. Make sure there's nothing wrong with it. If you do, make sure there's no play in the gearbox as well. I've got a 6-speed and they're kind of notorious for wearing out. If you can, get under the Jeep and get a little bit of gearbox oil out. Do that just to check how black it is. A lot of people do forget to replace the gearbox oil and the diff oil. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. If you think I've missed something or I should add something to this video, please leave it in the comments down below. Jeeps are really simple. There's not a lot of electrical problems that can go wrong with them. They don't have power windows. If you want AC, make sure that AC blows, make sure that AC works, and if it doesn't work, you can talk them down the price if you want, or you live somewhere cold. Make sure the heater works, make sure the thermostat works, make sure the water pump works, make sure there's no leaks. It's just general things to look at. But I think a lot of people overlook the simple stuff when they're looking at vehicles. I know I've done it in the past because I'm really excited about looking at a new car. But just take your time, write a list, take a friend with you, take your wife with you, so they can speak reason to you if you need to be. But it's just general things. But that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got anything to add, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and the like button, and I'll see you guys next time.